All right. Good afternoon, everybody. I know I'm just a few minutes early. I'll let some people tune in as maybe they're scrolling on their Facebook page. They can uh, check it out here. Pause with Phil. Pause with Phil. Hope everybody's having a good Wednesday so far. And I'm glad that you've decided to tune in to practice self care and look after your own well being. It's so good to pause, and that's what the name of this is. Each Wednesday is practicing the pause with Phil. And so I'm glad that you've decided to tune in here, and we'll get started here in just a minute. So let's give it a couple minutes or so, and let folks tune in. And as they're doing that, I'll go ahead and pull up my share screen here, and we're gonna kind of review some of the things that we did last week, but touch on some new material as well. So uh, I hope we've got some returning folks who decided to continue on with their wellness. And last week I asked for everybody to get a sheet of paper and a pencil or pen, and so right now would be a good time if you're tuning in to go ahead and maybe go find a pen or paper and have that ready because we're going to begin looking at some of these different dimensions of wellness today. We looked at some last week, and I want to continue to look at that again and then move forward and kind of look at some of these different dimensions. So, if you've got a minute, just go ahead and get up, get what you need to do, get the pen and paper, have that ready, and we'll begin to get started here in just a minute. I've told people in the past as well that I like to create an environment, and hopefully maybe some of you all will decide to do that. Uh, Create an environment for wellness, specifically geared towards wellness, and how I like to do that. If maybe you've been here in the past, or maybe you're just tuning in. How I like to do that is I get some tea. I like to get some tea. I found some ones that really help with like anxiety and stress, and it's really good to have and I try to have that ready as I create this environment for wellness. Another thing I do is light a candle. Having that aromatherapy is good too. And so I found different things that find that works for me, and I try to share that with others as well as we move along and we talk about wellness. And so hopefully now we've had some more people who have tuned in and begin watching here now with us and want to practice the pause here today. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna have a sip of my tea here. It always helps as we get started. Oh, that's good. I've found different teas that I've liked, and I've been trying some new ones this time. One is called Hawthorn. It's supposed to be good for your heart. I'm trying that one. I've got one that's called like I think it's called a cup of sunshine. It's got some type of flower in there. It says it's for a good mood or good feeling. So I'm trying that one out. And so I've got a couple different ones in here that I'm using. Just trying different things. See what works. And leave the rest. Right. So that's what we want to do here with practicing the pause. I want to bring some things to our attention, things that I found that works, that's helped me in my recovery and practicing this wellness. And I just like to share that with you all. So I'm glad that you're tuning in today, and we'll go ahead and get started. I see it's just a little bit after 2 o'clock now, and I just want to thank you again for tuning in. And how we like to start is by staying, like I say, like staying true to the name. I like to stay true to the name, practicing the pause. What does that mean to practice the pause? Well, it can mean several different things. For me, it's kind of finding balance. For me, it's taking a time out to look at my own self care and well being, and learn how I can be my best self. I believe that's what wellness means is becoming who you are meant to be, becoming your best self. I've heard a compliment that I've shared before in the past here. That maybe you've heard a compliment before that somebody likes the person you are becoming, the person you are becoming. And for me, that really defines wellness, who we are becoming. And we can look at these different aspects of our life and kind of see what we would like to change and to get where we want to go. So this is Practicing the Pause with Phil. I am Philip Boyce. I am a recovery navigator at the R3 Recovery Center here in Wilkesboro. And if you want to know a little bit more about our services, you can go to wilkesrecoveryrevolution.com. You can find out a little bit more about what our mission is and our philosophy and what we do as a recovery center. So I encourage you to check that out. Also, if you're not yet a YouTube subscriber, we also have a YouTube page that you can find, and you can catch up on some of these past videos, even videos of some of the other things that we have there that we offer at the Recovery Center, like Voices of Recovery and a couple of other ones. So if you're not yet a YouTube subscriber, please go and subscribe to the YouTube page, and you can stay updated on all these videos that we put out and offer. All right, now it's time. Let's go ahead and get situated, and let's begin practicing the pause. Practicing the pause. We're going to do something a little bit different this week. I thought it was good to maybe have a little bit of a change here, and I'm going to continue to look at some things we can do to better practice the pause. But one thing that I do like to do to begin with is practicing our breathing. And how I like to do that is I invite everyone there who's watching to find a quiet place. Go ahead and find a quiet place if you can. You can turn off any distractions. All right, so whether it be a phone or TV or maybe your door's open, if you could shut your door, I'd like to invite you to find a quiet place where you can free yourself from distraction and commit to it. I've shared several different times in the past here that with wellness, we have to be intentional. That means I need to schedule a time for my wellness because no one's going to do it for me, right? There's going to be obligations. There's going to be demands that come up. There's going to be different things that goes on in our life. And if we don't intentionally set aside a time for wellness, we're going to be regressing. You know, we're not going to be progressing in our wellness. We're going to be regressing. We're going to be backsliding or whatever it is. We're not going to be concentrated on our wellness like we should be. And so it's good if you've got a planner or calendar, something that you can write down and take this time out for yourself. You'll see benefits in all different areas of your life, and we'll look at some of those dimensions in our life that wellness touches on. It touches on everything in our life. We'll come to learn a little bit more about these dimensions as we move along. But I invite you now to find this quiet place where you can be free of distractions, and hopefully you've got a comfortable place that you can sit and sit up tall in that quiet place, free of distractions. And I'm going to invite you to breathe. We're going to breathe together. We're going to do a breathing exercise. Maybe you've done this in the past. Maybe this will be your first time. But I want to invite you to breathe. And sometimes we need to stop and breathe. I know I do. I need to take a time out. I need a pause and just breathe. Have you had a stressful day? You do have a lot going on. I invite you right now, in this time, invite you into this moment, this safe space to breathe, to practice the breath, to practice the pause. Let's do that together. All right. All right. Hopefully you're in a quiet place, that you're sitting up tall, you're free from distraction, and that you can just be. You can be. We are human beings here to be. Let's practice that. So I invite you to take a nice slow breath in, inhale, and then slowly release on the exhale. Release all the stress, release all the worry. Release, free your mind from everything that seems to be crowding it. And just breathe. Breathe in again. Nice slow in breath. Slowly feel the air going through your lungs and then release. And sometimes it can be just a stressful release, right? This is really tailored for you. How do you want to do that breathing? Do you've got a lot going on? That stress might for that exhale, it might feel a little more heavier when you exhale, when you release the breath, and that's okay. It's okay even to make a sound. Just uh, whatever you might need. That's going to be beneficial here to you. We're going to practice our breathing. Practice our breathing. This is something we can do everywhere. We can do it in the car. We can do it in the stressful situation. We can just be reminded to breathe, and that's what I want to do here on this Wellness Wednesday. Is for us to be mindful. Be mindful of the breath. Again, I invite you to breathe in. Breathe in. Fill your air's lungs. And slowly release. And when we begin with these exercises, especially if you're new to these exercises, it might be hard just to concentrate on the breath. You might not feel like you're getting immediate results. That's okay. That's okay. Stay with it. I invite you to stay with your breath. Stay with your breath. Again, another slow in breath. In breath, breathe through the nose. Slow in breath through the nose. And then a calm, relaxing out breath as you exhale. I remember when I first began, with the breathing exercises, I would take these long breaths, and man, it felt like I had so much going on. It felt like I had so much stress and everything. And so that out breath, I could really feel it, as that release. And I stayed with it. You want to stay with the breath. I want your energy to settle here by anchoring your attention to your breath. Let's settle our energy. Mindful of just being here in the now and the present. And I invite you to soften your shoulders. Maybe you feel tense. Maybe you can feel it in your shoulders and your neck. I just invite you to soften those. Soften your shoulders, soften your neck. And it's even okay to slowly move your head around. You might want to go one direction. Slowly, slow rolls with your head there, slowly to the left, and then maybe you want to go the opposite direction. So not fast, real slow. We're intentional. We're being mindful of our body here, mindful of where we might be carrying some stress and some tension. Could be in our neck, could be in our shoulders. And so let's do some small circles there with your head. And like I said, you can go back on the opposite way, the opposite direction, slowly rolling your head. And then you can do the same thing with your shoulders there. You might want to do some small circles backwards there with your shoulders, or you could even do some small circles forward there with your shoulders. We're just releasing some of that tension we might be carrying around from the week. This is right here in the middle of the week with Wellness Wednesday. And so you might have been carrying around some things, some stress, maybe some worries, some tension. And so right now we just want to really get comfortable. We want to relax, be right here where we are in the moment, be mindful of our body, and continue to breathe as we're doing this. Be mindful of your breath. So again, you might just want to pause here as you've gotten some of that tension out of your neck and shoulders. Maybe you feel it there in your belly and thighs. And so we just want to be mindful right now and watch our breath. We want to watch it with a sense of loving awe. That we're here, we're in the moment, we're safe, everything's okay right here, right now. We're present, we're alive, we're feeling our breath, we're mindful of our breath. And so we're taking some small, intentional breaths inward through the nose, and then slow release outward. And it's okay if you want to close your eyes too. If that helps you to focus, to be free of distractions, it's okay if you go ahead and close your eyes and just breathe in again. Breathe in. You're okay. You're all right. You're in a safe spot. There's nowhere to go. There's no things that in need of our immediate attention. Right now, we're doing the best thing we can, and that's to focus on our own well-being and self-care. And so I invite you as you breathe in to feel that gentle rise of the chest and the stomach area. And I've even said before that if it can be helpful to you to be more mindful, is to use one hand and put it there on your chest, and another one and put it right there on your belly, and really feel your breath. Feel your breath as the gentle rise and fall of the body as the body breathes itself. You let yourself drop into a state of being rather than doing. Like I said, right now we're in a safe place. We're present. We're being mindful of the moment. We're right here, right now, just present with the breath. And that is okay. That is okay. And as you watch your breath, we know these thoughts are going to rise, right? We might feel like a pool that we need to be doing something else, whatever it is. These thoughts are going to come because the mind is energy and it's always at play. And so today I invite you, as you notice these thoughts, just watch them as if from a distance. And know that you're not your thoughts, but you're a witness to these thoughts. And I've used the illustration in the past of see your thoughts as dead leaves floating down a stream. You can watch them as they go by. You don't have to attach anything to them. You don't have to paint a picture or create a narrative around them. Just watch them as they go by and then refocus on your breath. Come back to your breath. We're practicing the pause here. We're practicing mindfulness here. Being mindful of our breath, being mindful of our breathing. And so, again, let's return back to our breath, being mindful of our breath, and let's continue to breathe in. Slow, intentional breath in through the nose, and then slow release and exhale, releasing those stress, tension, and worry, just being present and mindful of our breath. I want us to remain present right here, right now, with our breath. And I believe as we continue to practice our breathing exercise, that we'll be a lot more equipped to practice these breathing exercises. We'll be a lot more comfortable if we can stick with it. And so now I want to try something new, and this is a loving kindness meditation. A loving kindness meditation. I used to do these meditations there in Charlotte. That's where I'm from. And, I really enjoyed them. And it's been a while since I've done them. So I thought this would be good for us to tune our mind to and tune our attention to. I believe in the power of thought, about what we bring in, about what takes up our thinking. And I believe if we can turn our thinking to better thoughts, that it'll help us. It really will. It'll help us in the long run. So this is called a loving kindness meditation. And so I hope that you're still comfortable there in the chair, or maybe you're sitting in a cushion, that you're sitting with a relaxed but straight posture, with your shoulders relaxed. And I just want us to pause. I want you to be mindful of your hands. What are your hands doing? Are your hands resting comfortably? Maybe they're resting comfortably on your lap. And I want to invite you to gently close your eyes there, and let's pause. I want us to settle into the awareness of the body and the breath. I want us really to be mindful of our body and feeling into our body right now and noticing what's here. I want us to be open to whatever is to be experienced in the body in this moment. Connecting to the breath, noticing the wave-like movements of the belly. And so in this practice, we'll be cultivating loving kindness. And we all have within us this natural capacity for loving kindness or friendship that is unconditional and open, gentle and supportive. A loving kindness is a natural opening of a compassionate heart to ourselves and to others. It's a wish that everyone is happy. We begin with developing loving kindness toward ourselves, allowing our hearts to open with tenderness. Now allow yourself to remember and open up to your basic goodness. Remember that you have that within you. You might remember times that you've been kind or generous. You might recall your natural desire to be happy and not to suffer. If acknowledging your own goodness is difficult, look at yourself through the eyes of someone who loves you. What does that person love about you? Or you may recall the unconditional love you felt from a beloved pet. It may help to use the imagination and to picture yourself as a young child standing before you. Perhaps you were 4 or 5 years of age. If that allows tender feelings or kindness to flow more easily. And as you experience this love, notice how you feel in your body. Maybe you feel some warmth or heat in the face, a smile, a sense of expansiveness. This is loving kindness, a natural feeling that is acceptable to all of us, always. Resting with this feeling of open, unconditional love for a few minutes. Let's just pause. Let's think about that. This feeling of open, unconditional love. Let yourself bask in the energy of loving kindness, breathing it in and breathing it out, inviting feelings of peace and acceptance. So, beginning now, begin to wish yourself well by extending words of loving kindness to yourself. I'll be offering as guidance the phrases that I've chosen to use in my own practice. You're invited to alter these phrases and choose whatever words express your wishes of loving kindness towards yourself and others. And now, offering these words in your mind for yourself, you might want to say these phrases with me. You can say it out loud. You can say it there just in the thoughts, in your own thoughts. I invite you, if you can, to say it out loud with me. And we begin with our breathing. You may have your eyes closed and just say this to yourself. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be held in loving kindness. Again, be mindful of your breath as you're saying these things. May I be held in loving kindness. May I feel connected and calm. As you're breathing these in, may I feel connected and calm. May I accept myself just as I am. May I accept myself just as I am. May I be happy. May I be happy. May I know the natural joy of being alive. May I know the natural joy of being alive. And now, repeating in the mind these words of friendship and kindness to yourself once again. Let's do it again together. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be held in loving kindness. May I feel connected and calm. May I accept myself just as I am. May I be happy. May I know the natural joy of being alive. Now you can open the circle of loving kindness by bringing to mind someone who is dear to you. Bring someone to mind who is dear to you. someone whom you care about, and who has always been supportive. Reflect on this person's basic goodness, sensing what is in particular that you love about him or her. And your heart feel appreciation for this dear one. And then together, let's begin our simple offering. Thinking of this person, speaking it towards this person. Let's say it together, whoever we have in mind. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be held in loving kindness. May you feel my love now. May you accept yourself just as you are. May you be happy. May you know the natural joy of being alive. All right. Isn't that good? All right. Now I invite you to bring to mind a neutral person. This is someone you might see regularly, but don't know well. It might be a neighbor, a grocery store clerk. And so bring this person to mind right here, right now, and let's repeat the words of loving kindness together to this neutral person. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be held in loving kindness. May you feel my love now. May you accept yourself just as you are. May you be happy. May you know the natural joy of being alive. Now, if it's possible for you, bring to mind someone with whom you've had a difficult relationship. Perhaps it's someone you don't like to feel sympathy or compassion for. See if it's possible to let go of feelings of resentment and dislike for this person, reminding yourself to see this person as a whole being, deserving of love and kindness, as someone who feels pain and anxiety, as someone who also suffers. See if it's possible to extend to this person the words of loving kindness in your mind. Let's do this together. Someone that we have had a difficult relationship with, someone that's we struggle with offering sympathy or compassion for, and let's do this together. Let's extend this person to this person words of loving kindness in our mind. Let's do this together. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be held in loving kindness. May you feel my love now. May you accept yourself just as you are. May you be happy. May you know the natural joy of being alive. Now allow your awareness to open out in all directions, to yourself, to a dear one, to a neutral person, and a difficult person, and of all beings, humans and animals living everywhere, living in richness, poverty, war, peace, hunger, abundance, aware of all the joys and sorrows that all beings experience. And let's say this together. May all beings be filled with loving kindness. May all beings be happy. May all beings awaken and be free. May all beings be happy. And now bringing this practice to a close by coming back to extend kindness to yourself, sitting for a while and basking in the energy of loving kindness that may have been generated here. We pause. We pause. Oh, it's so good, isn't it? To practice these things. Maybe this is the first time you've practiced meditation on loving kindness, and maybe you had a really good experience with it. Maybe perhaps you thought it was difficult to do some parts. That's what it's about practicing. I play an instrument. I play guitar, and that's something I had to do growing up. I had to practice every day, and it's something about practicing and repetition, and that's what I like to do with this wellness course is begin to practice certain things. I like to eat. I like to eat food, yes, but I also like to eat, and that's an acronym that we use here at practicing the pause. EAT stands for education, awareness, and tools. And so, I don't like it for just to be just about information, about pouring in the information, but to applying the things that we learn here. I try to bring different tools that we can use here in our life as we uh, practice our wellness and go on this wellness journey. And so today, again, like to repeat some things. I think it's going to be good. It'll be helpful to us to, again, look at some of these concepts and learn about some of these dimensions here in wellness. And so it really is about creating a healthier life. We're going to go through these, seeing how much time we have. I like to go through these again pretty quick since we've covered some of these. If you haven't had a chance to look at some of these past videos, I really encourage you to go to our YouTube page and watch some of these things. I think it'll be beneficial as we move forward. At the R3 Recovery Center, SAMHSA, we're modeled after the SAMHSA wellness model, and they've got this wellness initiative that envisions a future in which people with mental or substance uh, use challenges, problems, pursue health, happiness, recovery, and a full, satisfying life in the community. And that's what I'm really trying to bring here, specifically to Wilkes County. But I know there might be some folks that's watching elsewhere, but specifically here to our community. We want to create this. We want to facilitate this with folks who might have mental or substance use problems, to be engaged, to look at their own health, pursue health, happiness, recovery, and a full, satisfying life in the community. This is really about the quality of life, the quality of life. And wellness, by looking at wellness, can help us to do that. We can begin looking at these different dimensions of wellness. So it's not just about diet, it's not just about exercise, but wellness is so much more than that. And that's why I really like learning about wellness. Here's me, and I try to practice wellness throughout the day, and specifically during the week. I said before that with wellness, we need to be intentional. We need to make sure that we're setting aside a time that we can specifically look at some of these dimensions of wellness. And so for me, I like to specifically set a time where I can go on a walk through the woods. I'm getting exercise, which is physical wellness. And also, I'm looking at my mental wellness and emotional wellness there. And I believe by going through a walk through the woods, it helps me to do that. It also can help me with my spiritual wellness and these other dimensions that we're looking at. And that's what's that's there in the Constitution, right? The Declaration of Independence, pursuit of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, right? And this is wellness. We're looking at what we can do to better enhance the quality of our life. Here we see this dimensional wheel that we've talked about before in the past. There's eight. There's eight dimensions here that SAMHSA looks at, that SAMHSA is modeled after here, and we begin learning that all these are interdependent. So they all influence each other. And so, like I said, if I go for a walk through the woods, that's my physical. It can also help with my emotional. It can also help with my spiritual, environmental. All these are interdependent. They're interconnected here. Interdependence means that every aspect of wellness can affect a person's life. And we begin exploring these eight dimensions here. And I want us to be more familiar, better equipped, better familiarized with these dimensions here. And so I continue to reiterate these and the power of repetition, to go back and to look at these, because I really want us to be familiar with each of these dimensions as we move forward here. And so we can say these together, we can look at these together: uh, emotional, intellectual, occupational, social, financial, physical, spiritual, and environmental. And we begin looking at really what all these means as we move along here. But every aspect of wellness can affect a person's life, and working towards all of them in one way or another is a great goal, because wellness relates directly to the quality of a person's life. And each one of us are individuals. We've all got our individual needs and different places in life that we're at. And so, some of you out there might already be practicing some wellness tools in your life. Let's say, maybe your physical wellness is really high. Maybe you're eating right, you're getting enough sleep, you're dieting, you're exercising, and so your physical wellness really might be above, let's say, someone else who has maybe neglected some of those aspects of their own physical wellness. That's okay, because we're all unique. We all have our individual needs, and so it's really about setting our own, being at our own pace, setting our own time, and with our own abilities here. And so this is going to be tailor made to you about this wellness plan that you can come up with. And we'll begin looking a little bit more about how we can each tailor make our own wellness plan here as we move along. And so, again, I want us to be familiar with this definition of wellness. What does wellness mean? You see sometimes programs or packages, different things that say, is wellness inclined, is wellness really made for wellness, whether it's be self-help or whatever it might be. And so here's a definition of wellness that I like, and I'd like for us to look at here. Wellness is being healthy in many dimensions of our lives. It's about how we live our lives and the joy and fulfillment and health we experience. That's a good definition there of wellness. And here we begin looking again at this wellness wheel in each of these dimensions. And we looked over that some there in the past. And I think we can quickly, briefly go over these, what each one of these entails here. Emotional entails coping effectively with life and creating satisfying relationships. Coping effectively with life and creating satisfying relationships. So emotional can really look at some of these coping mechanisms, right? How do I cope? How do I cope when I get overly stressed? Uh, what do my relationships look like? Am I creating satisfying relationships? Next, we move along to the right hand side is financial. Financial is another wellness dimension there. And financial wellness looks at satisfaction with current and future financial situations. And so maybe well, our budget needs to be looked at, or how we do some of our spending, what we're buying, some of these other aspects of financial dimension. By being aware of our financial wellness, by being mindful of it, it can really open up some of our thinking about maybe what how we are feeling with our finances, with financial wellness. Next, we move along to social wellness, and that looks at developing a sense of connection, belonging, and a well-developed support system. And so social wellness really helps us to look at what are our social circles. What does that consist of? Is it lacking in some areas? Or are we receiving as much support as we feel like is needed? Move along there to spiritual wellness, and spiritual wellness really focuses on expanding our sense of purpose, of meaning, and meaning in life. So you can look at spiritual wellness and really ask yourself that question: do I have a sense of purpose and meaning in my life? Spiritual wellness, by looking at spiritual wellness, helps us to identify some of those needs. Moving along, we move to occupational wellness, and that looks at personal satisfaction and enrichment derived from one's work. And so, it shouldn't just be a 9 to 5, but we should be finding enrichment from our work. We should be finding satisfaction by what we're doing, and occupational wellness helps us as we look at that. Moving along, we move to physical wellness, and that recognizes the need for physical activity, diet, sleep, and nutrition. And so perhaps when you were thinking about physical wellness, maybe you just thought about diet and exercise, but it goes to even more aspects with in regards to looking at our sleep and some other aspects of physical wellness. And so that helps us to really identify some of those needs there. Moving along, we move up to intellectual wellness, and that looks at recognizing creative abilities and finding ways to expand knowledge and skills. What's so cool there at the R3 Recovery Center is we're going to have someone there who's be doing an art class, offering an art class. I believe it's going to be on Tuesdays, I believe. But that's another way that we can develop some of our skills and maybe even explore new ways. Maybe art hasn't been something that you've necessarily tried in the past, and it might be a way for you just to expand your horizons, right? To try something new, and that's so good. That's intellectual wellness can help us as we move along in life to look at some of those areas. Environmental wellness is next, and that looks at good health by occupying pleasant, stimulating environments that support well-being. And so maybe there's some needs to be addressed with environmental wellness, and that helps us to take a look at those things. All right, I love going back over these just to familiarize ourselves. What are some of these dimensions? This was just explaining how these can be interconnected by worrying about money. If you're worrying about money, that can be financial wellness, which can cause anxiety, can affect emotional wellness, which can lead to medical problems. That's physical wellness, which can also in turn lead to trouble at work. That's occupational wellness, which can then cause someone to question their meaning and purpose, and that's spiritual wellness. And then perhaps they're laid off from their job and work. That can affect their social wellness, which can affect their pocket, their financial wellness, which could mean no food or medication, which can in turn affect their physical wellness, which can in turn affect their living situation, environmental. So you see how all these, it's a wheel, right? They're all interconnected here. They're all interdependent. And so you can see how all these really do affect each other. And wellness is really about creating balance, and that's why I offer each week here for a timeout that we can really focus on our self care and well being and learn about what wellness is. That's why I've repeated some of these. I'm aware of that. I'm using repetition as a teaching tool, but for me, it's not about moving too quickly with this material, but really addressing the importance of it and how it can affect our life. And so, wellness is very important, and so is creating balance. And balance, a good way to look at it is making sure that we have time to do the things that make us feel happy and fulfilled. And so we can stop and pause right there and ask, do we have that balance in our life? Are we creating that balance that we seek? Do we have time to do the things that make us feel happy and fulfilled? That's part of balance. And each one of us is going to be unique. We all have different skill sets and abilities, and so it is unique to each one of us. But it's a question I think we should all ask and stop and pause. And I think the more we can do that, the better. But I am so glad that we are able to offer this once a week to be able to look at some of these dimensions and aspects in our life. To say, am I creating this balance? And a lot of times it's looking at the habits and routines that we have set up. It's manageability. Is my life manageable, or does it seem like it's it's off the beam that I'm off the teeter totter or whatever that thing was. Growing up as a kid. Does it seem like it's all one way? or the other. That your life is just filled with stress and you never find that balance. Wellness helps us to look and regain focus and be self-aware of these things. And so I'm so glad, I've began looking into this material and able to present it, hopefully in a way that we can all get better understanding and really see the benefits of applying it in our life. And we just have to keep on going. We have to keep swimming, right? Keep 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 on with it, and like I said, hopefully we'll begin to see the benefits from learning these things and applying it in our life. uh, you know, and that's what's so important too, is just to take that time to pause and to rest and to look at these things, to relax, to have that downtime, that's so needed. It seems like it's just a chaotic world a lot of times, and there's just such a need. There's a need for this, I believe. That's why I think it's so important to get the material out there, the information, and to practice these things. And know that you're not alone. We offer support there at the Recovery Center. So maybe if you're feeling, like you're trapped or, just overwhelmed, you could use some support, whether, it's mental health challenges or, substance use. Maybe you're looking for something different, and this message of wellness is really speaking to you and say, yeah, I need to change. There's a lot of things in my life to change, and maybe you just feel like you're just overwhelmed, like that there's this huge mountain that is just too tall to climb. Just notice you don't have to do it alone, that we're here to come alongside you, and it's good. We can sit down with somebody and you can kind of look at these different areas of life and just find a starting point. Sometimes it's just finding that starting point, but it's difficult to do it alone because it seems like there's just so much to tackle. Well, here at the R3 Recovery Center, we can sit down with you, we can talk with you, and just kind of see where you're at, just see where you are, and be able to offer some support. And we can do that. We have we love doing that. Why? Because we've walked through a lot of those challenges, whether it's with substance use, there's different challenges. We've walked through some of those paths, and we know the struggle. It's not just a book knowledge that we have. We just didn't go to school for it, but we've actually walked through a lot of these challenges, and so we can really come alongside somebody and say, this is what I've done, or be able to find some of these resources and hook up individuals with these vital, important resources for moving forward and then practicing wellness and going on this recovery journey. Just know that you're not alone, that you don't have to do it alone. We're here to help there at R3 Recovery Center. You can look at our address there or call us up, come by and visit us. We can also point you towards support groups, those who are also going through their own struggles and have also have their own victories and can share those, their experience, strength, and hope. Support groups are vital. They're so good to have the people alongside of you that can help. And a lot of times it's looking at some of these different routines and habits. It's creating new routines and habits. And that can even be the way that we think. And that's why I liked opening up earlier with that loving kindness meditation. That a lot of times I've got to change the way I'm thinking, and it takes time. It takes time to create those new neural pathways in our brain. And so a lot of times it is repetition. It's going over it. It's continuing with it. And that's why I've called this practicing the pause. We practice these things here. We begin to learn these new habits and routines. And just like what Aristotle said, I love this quote: "We are what we repeatedly do." That's that repetition. You're forming those repetitions. You're staying with it. You're keeping on swimming. He says that excellence then is not an act, but a habit. We're creating these new habits, these new neural pathways in our brain, and those things take time. They take time. Oops, one too many buttons there. And so, these are some of the things that we consider here with this wellness journey. Is we begin looking at what are some of our activities? What are some purposeful activities that we can create? What are some wellness activities that we can apply and purposefully, intentionally, put into our week or days? Are we resting? Are we practicing the pause and looking after our own self-care. Do we have the stimulation that we need? Maybe it's too much stimulation. There's difference. I've heard, about, those people who need to kind of pull back, introverts or extroverts. We need different stimulations. That's because we are unique. We are, individuals. We all have different needs. And so some might need more stimulation than others. And so we want to look at our social interaction, and wellness helps us to do that. We can look at some of our circumstances, and we might have to readjust some of our circumstances. We can, this is all tailor made to us. This wellness plan that we'll begin looking at, and we want to make sure it's friendly. We don't want to try to tackle on too much. We want to go at our own pace and our own time. Wellness helps us to do that. These wellness principles and practices can help us to do this. This wellness plan that we can create, and those there at the Recovery Center are peer support specialists or peer navigators. They are familiar with the wellness plan, and they can help individuals to go about creating a wellness plan. It's important to do. And maybe you've never heard of a wellness plan, and that's okay, but it'll help you identify some of these aspects in your life and some of the challenges, and it's good not to do it alone. Uh, Practice of repetition. That's what I try to do here by really getting us familiar with what some of these wellness concepts are and what they mean. And I want to encourage us all to embark on a wellness lifestyle. Embark on a wellness lifestyle. And so I hope that you still have that pen and paper ready. Maybe if you joined us from last week, I know some of this was a lot of repetition, but maybe you saw something that you didn't see last time. Maybe I explained something differently, and maybe you had one of those aha moments. I hope so. I hope so, because I believe repetition is important, and I don't want to fly through this material. I really want us to have a good grasp and an understanding of what wellness means. And so, last time, we looked at emotional wellness, and hopefully you still have that piece of paper with you. And maybe some of these have changed since last week. Maybe something has been different about how you've been practicing emotional wellness. I hope so, and that's the whole intent of wellness, is really to get us to where we want to go, to be the person we want to be. Oops, I clicked a button there. I don't want to give anything away by moving on to another dimension. But these were really, I thought, really good questions that are raised here in this evaluation. And like I said, maybe you weren't here last time when we were going over what emotional wellness is, but you might remember the definition here of it. It's having the ability to deal with stress and cope with life's challenges. And so here are some of the questions that was asked last time, and we put a number to it about whether we never did it, or we rarely did it, or we sometimes did it, or we usually did it. Uh, and so the first question there was, I find it easy to express my emotions in positive, constructive ways. And in the past, I've talked about the power of language. So instead of just saying, you know, uh, I feel stressed, was one of the examples that I've used before. I feel stressed. Maybe you can talk about what you're feeling in your body, or maybe why you're feeling stressed, right? So you really use the power of words, but if we can really express our emotions in a positive, constructive way, that's been so difficult, really. That's some things that I've had to learn, is to express emotions in a positive, constructive ways. And so when you're feeling stressed, when you're overwhelmed, just don't unleash it on somebody, but really know why you're feeling it, where you're feeling it in your body. Maybe you feel, really tense and stressed in your stomach. You know, uh, if we can really use the power of words, but use it in a positive, constructive way. I like what somebody said before. You can say what you mean what you say, but don't be mean when you say it. And that's what I was talking about with really changing the way that we think. And that's why I loved about that loving kindness meditation. Even when we were offering loving kindness, to, somebody that we, didn't, really have a good relationship with. Maybe it was a difficult relationship, and, maybe somebody that we really didn't feel like giving sympathy to or compassion for, but we still practiced it. And all these are practice, dealing with our emotions and expressing them in a positive and constructive way. That is a practice. Even pausing, taking a step back, instead of, just reacting, learn how to respond. These are all practices. And that's why I love about doing these on each Wednesday is begin to practice some of these things, being mindful of how we express emotions. And so maybe for you, when you gave yourself a number on there, maybe it was never. Maybe you said, man, every time, I get around somebody, it's just negative emotion. I really have struggles, expressing my emotion in a positive, constructive way. And so for maybe that was the one. That's okay. That's okay. At least you're mindful of where you're at, and hopefully, you want to improve on that. And so that's might be, something to take a look at. How can I practice that better expressing my emotions in a positive, constructive way? Well, hopefully, some of the tools that we learn here, some of this information that will help you to do that. And maybe you need support, like I said, expressing your emotions. So that's what, maybe some of the support there at R3 Recovery Center is, or some of these other support groups, or whatever it might be. Maybe that's something that you might want to take a look at. This emotional wellness, where you're at with your emotional wellness. And like I said, these aren't uh, uh, these all are dependent on each other. So how I react, with my emotions. Stress can lead to heart attacks and strokes and all that. So just don't think of emotion as a separate category, but as your entire holistic. You see you as a whole being. That all these are you. This is a part of you, but it all works towards a whole. And so if I'm not, expressing my emotions in a positive way, it can have negative effects on these other dimensions of my wellness. I hope that you're beginning to see how all these are connected here. They're not just separate, but they all work and function together. This second question is good too. I recognize when I am stressed. You recognize when you're stressed? What are some of the signs that you are just overly stressed? What how do you feel when you're stressed? Do you recognize your stress? Do you recognize when you're stressed, and are you aware of what steps that you can take to manage your stress, whether it be exercise or quiet time or meditation? A lot of things that we look here on practicing the pause. Do you recognize when you're stressed, and do you know the steps that you can take to manage your stress? Maybe that's an area that you are really concerned about, and maybe last time you gave yourself a low number, maybe you've recognized that, and since this last week, you've made some changes. Maybe you are exercising, or you're practicing a quiet time, or practicing meditation, whatever it might be, to help with your stress. And that's the intent and purpose of this. It's really application to make some of those changes. The third question here for emotional wellness is, I am resilient and can bounce back after a disappointment or problem. How would you grade your resiliency? When you hear bad news, or you have a problem going on during the day, how quick are you to bounce back? What's your resiliency scale? What's your resiliency level? And do you stay in that problem all day? Do you let it affect your mood, and how long do you stay in that? Are you quick to get out of that and kind of change the way you think, and how you look at the problem? Are you quick to get into a solution, or do you just let it drain you throughout the whole day? What's your resiliency scale? Maybe that's a challenge for you there to look at, and maybe you got a low number from this last time, or whatever it is. That's maybe something that we bring to our awareness and say, okay, that's an area that I can improve on. How do I get out of that? What are some tools that I can use, some wellness tools that I can use, and we'll look at some of those as we move along. Uh, Here's another one here. This is critical. It's cool. It's finding balance. Remember where I talked about finding balance there, maintaining a balance. How good at you are you right now with maintaining a balance of work, family, friends, and other obligations? And I hope that you've got your paper from last time, and that you're keeping up with these, and you can see your improvement, right? Say, yes, this is something I really want to look at, and maybe if you start off as one as never, that slowly you'll improve that, and because you're mindful of it, and it can change. It can change quickly. Slowly. It just depends. It depends on how we create these new habits and routines and new ways of thinking and being. That fifth question is: I am flexible and adapt or adjust to change in a positive way. How do you deal with change? Maybe something kind of feels like the rug's just pulled out from underneath you. How did you deal with change with the pandemic? Everybody was forced into change there with the coronavirus and all that. How do you deal with it? Are you flexible? Do you adapt to it? Do you adjust to change in a positive way? That might be an area to take a look at. I am able to make decisions with minimal stress or worry. How good with you are you with making decisions? I used to procrastinate a whole lot. It seemed like I was just trapped. I was frozen, and all that. How good are we with making decisions with minimal stress or worry? Might be an area to look at there. And this last question, and we'll wrap up with this. When I'm angry, I try to let others know in a non-confrontational, non-hurtful way. How do you deal with your anger? These are such great questions here with emotional wellness. This is just one dimension, one dimension. And I know this felt like a review just of last week, but like I said, hopefully, by repetition, we'll be able to understand these on a deeper, more profound level of what wellness is, and that's really my objective. What I really find is important for us to really have a good understanding of what wellness means. So I hope that you've gotten a lot out of this today. If it's your first time, I hope that you'll join us again. If you're returning and seeing some of this material again, I thank you again for being here. And I really do hope that you were able to get more insight from reviewing some of this information. And we'll continue to move forward. And again, we've got these videos uploaded there on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and like there, and follow us there on our YouTube page. And thanks again for being here and practicing your own self-care and well-being with us today on this Wellness Wednesday. And then look forward to picking up where we left off next time and looking at some more of this information as we continue to practice our wellness. So thanks again, and have a good rest of the day, everybody. Goodbye.